it'll fall over or something. Anyway, we are live now. Um, I don't know. I hope people get the time right because the clock change is so confusing. I hate changing the time. Oh, hi, Jermaine.
You know what? I didn't realize it was daylight savings till somebody. I was talking to somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And they said, "Oh, it's daylight saving time." Oh, I'm glad you told me because I didn't realize.
No.
Okay, because I'm not watching TV.
Happy Women's Day. Thank you, Jermaine.
Thank
I,
you.
I
Yes,
hope you had a good day yourself.
he's a great guy.
Oh,
He
well,
is.
nice to meet you, Jermaine. Okay. Jermaine might be our only audience, though.
It is
But
what it is.
it
That's what
is, yeah. It's Sunday afternoon. We've had a time change. It's not a
exactly.
problem. It's not a problem. We're here.
And it's Sunday, right?
And it's Sunday, yeah. And I don't normally
Exactly.
come on Sundays, so this is a first for me. Sunday's my day off. So I'm doing this for women everywhere.
This is a historic day. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why we're here. Because I usually don't do lives on Sunday either, but this is worth it.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's one thing I think about International Women's Day, and I think this about all of these days, and it's great to have a day to, celebrate women, to celebrate, all the different things we celebrate, like Mother's Day and da da da. But what I mean, apparently there is an International Men's Day, but it's not widely known, and it was only brought out a few years ago. But I kind of think, like, why do we need to have an International Women's Day? It's like we live in this patriarchal society. Hi, Stacey. Um, we live in this patriarchal society world, and we are allowed to have this day that we can celebrate ourselves. It just, like, looking at it from that perspective, it's like a little bit, I don't know, patronizing. I don't know what you think of that, Margaret.
I do. Why do I get this one day when I could get my flowers every day? Okay. I don't want to wait until I'm dead and gone to get these flowers. I want to receive the flowers while I'm alive so I can
Mhm.
smell them. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can see them. I can enjoy them. Okay. So time out for that. Every day is a celebration that we wake up and see a
That's
new day, right?
This is, and this is my point really. We've got this one day, and that's great. Thank you for letting us have this. But what we need to do is support each other as women every day, celebrate each other every day, tell each other how great we are every day, and men too. Exactly the same for men. We should. Oh, hi, Kalpana, and hi, Twisted Willow Wellness. Yeah, so every day we should celebrate each other. I mean, if we can bring more kindness into this world, we were saying before we went live that this world is getting, and I don't want to seem pessimistic, but it is getting quite hateful. We need to bring more kindness and love into the world, which I think on International Women's Day, it's a great day to start talking about that movement.
Absolutely. Before embracing others, we need to first embrace and celebrate ourselves for our accomplishments.
Yeah.
Okay. We have so many accomplishments. Think about all the roles that we have been forced to play.
Yeah.
Okay. The positions, the titles that are forced upon us without our approval. And we stepped up to the plate. Okay. As
Yeah.
mothers, as wives, as members of the community, as members of the church. Okay. Who else held the family together?
hmm
Us.
Yeah. We're the
Okay.
protector. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Twisted Willow Wellness. Thank you so much. So much love and appreciation for you both. Thank you. And right back at you as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that because as we look at our role as women in the world, okay, we have seen where we have gave so much and got so little. Okay. And then at the end of the day, what do we have for ourselves?
Mm.
Okay. What do we have for ourselves? So that's why it's so important when you wake up in the morning, celebrate yourself.
Definitely.
Okay. Be your own
Definitely.
cheerleader. Okay. Don't wait for validation. Don't wait for approval from somebody else. Don't wait for a celebration from somebody else. Celebrate yourself. When you start your day like that, then every day is going to be great.
That's it. And that's how we should live. So, if anybody watching, and hi, Ral, it's lovely to see you. And hi, Raquel, lovely to see you too. If anybody has any women that they want to celebrate, just write it in the chat, please. We'd love to hear, because we could spend the next, I don't know, 100 years talking about women that have done good and brought the women's movement forwards, because although we are still struggling, we have come a long way. And hi, Robes, the bathrobe guy. I haven't seen you for a while. Um, yeah, so I've written down some women that I just basically, to be, totally honest, I asked ChatGPT, because otherwise I would have struggled to find not struggle to find the women, but struggle to know who to include out of the millions and millions of women we could include. And I wanted some lesser known women as well, because there's women whose names we all know, and there's women who not so many people know, but should be mentioned as well.
Absolutely, because we could be here all day and not include all the important women throughout history that has changed the life that we live today.
We could be here for years, years and years.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, do you want to kick off? Who have you got on your list?
Well, when I think about, I was born in the '60s, okay, during the civil rights movement. So not having not having any positive role models in my family, I look outward, okay, and
Yeah.
I look at women like Eleanor Roosevelt, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, and countless of advocates behind the women's suffrage movement. Okay, did not wait for permission to lead. Okay, they used their courage, conviction, and strategic action to change systems that never were designed to include them. Okay, so as a marginalized leader, okay, looking to shape future generations. Okay, I look to women like that to see what they did. Okay,
Mm,
how they did it and how they overcame excruciating odds to uplift a nation. Okay?
absolutely. Hi,
So,
Kimmy. I have Rosa Parks on my list of ladies as well. Obviously, if I think everybody knows who Rosa Parks was, but if you don't, she was the lady who refused to give up her seat on the bus, and that triggered the Montgomery bus boycott. So where everybody boycotted the bus, and she was a central figure in the American civil rights movement. That one quiet act of courage. And you know, I will be surprised if I don't start crying during this live, because these women move me so much. But she was supposed to give up her seat to a white person, and she refused. And that, at that point in time, was so brave, because she could have been hauled off to prison. She could have been beaten. Who knows what could have happened to her? That was, I mean, it was so brave. And I mean, look at people now. You stand a big chance now of, if are protesting in America, you stand a huge chance of being shot. So she was brave.
absolutely was. And because of her courage, that boycott, it was in 1955, okay? And
Right.
that was a part of the, what you call it, nonviolent resistant movement.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And she had, I don't know, with her and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and a number of people had that training. And basically, it worked. It worked back then. Okay. and there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to work now. Okay, because that boycott, a lot of people, because of that, then the buses became segregated.
Mm,
Okay, because of that act. Okay, we no longer have to sit in the back of the bus. Okay,
mm,
and
yeah.
so um, it's
But
encouraged.
even, yeah, but even so, I mean, even segregating the buses isn't right, is it? Like,
Of
you
course
go in that
not.
bus, you go in that bus. That wasn't right, but it was a step forward. It was more than they had before. Non-violent sorry, start that again. Non-violent resistance works. It is difficult, yes, but it works. Yeah, now that's interesting because I have two ladies on my list who have, they're like Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X, they're two sides of the same struggle. So you have Emmeline Pankhurst, who was the leader of the Women's Social and Political Union, started in Manchester, UK, and moved to London. She was famous for her slogan, "Deeds, not words." And she was an activist for the right for women to vote, because at that point in time, women did not have a vote. They could not say in what happened in their own country. Um, and she was a militant activist. So her two daughters and a gang of other women, they would burn post boxes. They would go into Parliament and cause riots. They would smash windows. They would set fire to things. They were protesting very loudly. They were activists. They were quite violent in what they did. And in those days, violent women were just unheard of, more or less unheard of. Now, on the other side of that, you had a lady called Millicent Fawcett, and um, she was the leader of the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies. So she was like your Martin Luther King uh, side of it, if you like. So she was the peaceful advocate. She would have petitions. She would write letters. She would just sit in protest. And they both had their own views, but both of them had an impact in their own ways. So nobody knows who actually, was the most. I think Pankhurst was the most well known. The suffragettes are the most well known because they caused more noise, whereas the other ladies were quieter. But they both had an impact. Both approaches together helped lead to the Representation of the People Act, which came out in 1918. And it gave voting rights to many women in the UK, not all women. So you had to be over 30 and you had to have property. Now, I'm not sure whether that just meant your husband, you're married to somebody with property, but if you didn't have property, you couldn't vote. If you were under 30, you couldn't vote. So again, it was a step forward, but it did not solve everything for women. So
I'm
that's my first two ladies.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the suffrage movement, because they realized that they could not win that without the blacks and the other nationality of women. So what they did was we created this coalition, and this activism for women's political equality, okay, also included leaders such as Susan B. Anthony,
Okay.
um, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Savannah Truth, Ida B. Wells. Okay, and so uh, this came up during the Siena Falls Convention in 1848. It was the first major gathering focused on women's rights. Okay, after more than 70 years of activism and persistence, the movement achieved a historic victory in 1920 with the
Wow.
ratification of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote.
Woo!
Okay? So the suffrage movement demonstrates that lasting change requires persistence, coalition building, and leaders willing to challenge deeply rooted systems of power.
Brilliant, brilliant. So yeah, I didn't know that. That's really good. Thank you. But I do have, I believe, Ida B. Wells on my list.
Okay.
Uh, so she was a journalist, activist, and fearless campaigner for civil rights and women's rights. She exposed the truth about racial violence in the United States and risked her life to publish the facts when others stayed silent. So she was a journalist talking about how women were treated. Um, she was deeply involved in women's suffrage and challenging the racism that even existed within the suffrage movement. So even
Yes.
then,
Yes.
it was two sides. Um, so she showed that women's rights could not be separated from justice and equality for all women, whatever their colour. Her courage helped shape both the civil rights movement and the expansion of women's political activism. Brilliant. And she died in 1931.
Wow.
Amazing.
Well,
Amazing.
all of these things that work during uh, the previous generations are some of the same principles that we can incorporate in today's world to meet our desired outcomes. As women,
Yeah,
we have more power than we realize, and we need to use our power to gain the things that we desire in life.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
leave your life for somebody else to decide what is right for you, right? And
absolutely.
and and that brings me to my next champion. Since I have her right here, is Harriet Tubman. Okay,
Yeah,
uh, all right, 1822 to 1913. Okay, and she was an abolitionist, a freedom fighter, and a humanitarian whose leadership embodied courage, collective liberation, and after escaping slavery, uh, she returned to the South to guide enslaved people to freedom through the
yeah,
Underground Railroad, okay?
yeah,
And helping approximately 70 people escape bondage during the Civil War. Okay, she serves as a nurse, a scout, and a spy for the Union Army and became the first woman in U.S. history to land a military expedition freeing more than 700 enslaved people during the Kaba- Kabachi River raid. Okay, Tubman is later advocated for women's suffrage and social justice. Her legacy reminds us that leadership is not only about securing freedom for yourself, it is also about creating pathways for others so we all can rise.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I watched the film, and I mean, when she escaped from slavery, which was brave in itself, she could have just kept moving. She didn't have to go back. She
No,
chose to go back and help other people. And her friends and advocates were trying to stop her, saying like, this, you going too far now, because now they know who you are and they're after you. They're trying to catch you. And she just kept going. Nothing was going to stop her. She was risking her life every time she went back to get more. It was amazing. Yeah.
and she never lost a passenger. I'll say passenger. Okay, she never lost one. So you know
No.
why? Because it was a coalition. There was a lot of northern and southern white whatever. Everybody was working together to help her
Yeah.
win. Okay, she had a lot of help. She couldn't have did that by herself.
No. No. No, and a lot of these women had people around them. They might have been the main instigator, but there were an awful lot of people, not just women, but men as well, around them, helping them.
Yes,
Sure. Yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely, cheering you on.
Which
And
just goes to show when we work together, we can achieve great things. And I think, that message is so important today as it ever was. But going back to women's suffrage, there was a lady, I think over 100 years before the likes of Pankhurst, and, Wells and Rosa Parks. There's Mary, and I can't say her name, Mary Wollstonecraft, right?
okay.
And she lived from 1759 to 1797. And she was long before women were campaigning for the vote. Mary was already arguing that women deserved equality in education, independence, and they also deserved respect, which she thought they didn't get. She was one of the earliest voices arguing that women deserve the same education and the same respect as men do. She wrote in 1972, she wrote one of the most influential feminist texts that has ever been written. Obviously, it was of its time, but it was called A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Because most people at the time believed that women were not as intelligent as men. So therefore, they didn't need to be educated because they couldn't learn anything anyway.
It must have been a man that said that.
So her work laid the philosophical foundation for the women's rights movements that came much later, including the suffragettes. So years before, which was brave in those days. Really brave, because she could have been put in a mental institution because, like, how can you possibly believe that women are intelligent? You must be mad.
But we're smart enough to cook your meals and have your babies, okay?
That's it. Yeah. Which no men can do that, can they? Let's require women to register for the military drug so they can. Oh, thank you for that. That's very good. We'll all join the army. Actually,
Been there, done that.
yeah, yeah. I was going to say, actually, I think Margaret's already done that.
Yeah, it's a man's world. It is what it is.
Exactly.
So one of my other heroes, I should have said her first, Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, she was born in 1884 and died in 1962, the year I was born. Okay, anyway, Eleanor Roosevelt transformed the role of the first lady from ceremonial position into a powerful platform for advocacy and influence. And during Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidency, she championed civil rights, women equality, and workers' protection, okay, during the Great Depression, okay? After leaving the White House, Roosevelt, she served as a U.S. delegate to the United Nations and chaired the committee that drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, okay, and establishing the global standard for human dignity and justice. Her leadership, okay, demonstrated that influence does not come only from formal authority, it comes from the willingness to speak out, challenge injustice, and expand opportunities for others. For marginalized leaders today, Roosevelt's legacy reminds us that visibility matters and that leadership can reshape institutions when voices are used with courage and purpose.
Great lady, yeah. Yeah, and probably almost as well known as her husband, the president, which is unusual for wives of presidents. They don't normally hold such great esteem. I guess you could say Michelle Obama does, but Eleanor Roosevelt, her words still are, people read them every day, even today.
It took great courage, because her husband had a multitude of affairs, okay? And they really didn't have a relationship like that, Okay, their relationship was based on power and how they can distribute, help the government grow and things like that. So she had her own private life and he had his, but they came together to create this amazing legacy that that lives on through us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Okay. So who have I got? So I've also got somebody I really admire, Malala Yousafzai. Yeah, young girl, still alive. She was only born in 1997. So she is a Pakistani activist for girls' education. She was shot in the head on her way to school when she was only 15 by the Taliban. And the reason they shot her was because she was an advocate for all women, girls being educated, which obviously the Taliban don't agree with. Which I guess goes back to that theory that women aren't as intelligent as men, and therefore they don't need to be educated. Um, but Malala, she brought global attention to the importance of education for girls. So had she not been shot in the head, the Western world wouldn't have heard of her. We wouldn't have known about the struggle for girls in Pakistan to have proper education. So she she won a Nobel Peace Prize. She's the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize laureate. So yeah, amazing, amazing. Only 15.
And
Ooh,
there are
5.
so many heroes, unsung heroes out there that we could talk about for days.
Yes.
And the whole message is, what change can we bring into the world? Okay? We may not be recognized for it. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you look back over your day, your life, and say, hey, I made a difference. Okay? And that's the only thing that makes a difference to me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
People can say what they want to about you. Okay? But your record speaks for itself. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what people think of you is up to them, isn't it? We don't
Exactly.
have any control over how people see us, how they perceive us. I don't think anybody has the right to disrespect anybody. Nobody has the right to be nasty to people, but they have the right not to like you if they don't want to like you, and that's fine. There are people that I don't like, but I don't verbally abuse them or be nasty to them. So again, I think we need to have the courage to speak out where we see discrimination, where we see people that are not being treated right. We need to, as women, we need to say what we want, what we think should be done. We need to take our place at the table, basically. Apply for the jobs, and apply for these higher like jobs in the men's world, but apply for them as women, not as trying to be like men, which I think a lot of women in leadership roles tend to do because they feel they have to. That's the only way to move upwards. That reminds me, when I first started work, my first day at work was 1976, October 1976. And on the first day I started work, a lady manager, well, she wasn't a manager because we didn't have managers, but she was a senior role. Um, and she wore a lovely trouser suit to work. And I thought, gosh, she looked so smart. And she was taken into the manager's office and said, you don't wear trousers. Women should wear skirts. You don't wear trousers. You're not a man. And this was in 1976. Incredible.
When you speak up for yourself, you're aggressive. Okay?
Yeah.
Or you too much, or we're too much.
Yeah.
Okay? So we are expected to stay quiet and stay in our place. What is my place? First of all, what is my place?
Mm. And who
Okay?
decides? How can somebody else
Yes,
decide your place? You decide your
exactly.
place.
Exactly. And that's why I quit that job and went out on my own. because you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do when we have free will. You can do it. I can too. Okay. And we have to take our power back by speaking up and telling people the truth, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
They're not going to like it. I don't care. Why should I still sit here and be uncomfortable and miserable while you're happy and over there living your best life?
Mm.
Okay. Those days are over.
Exactly.
Okay. So as women, we need to take our power back and say, I'm stepping up and I am not accepting this disrespectful behavior anymore from family, from friends, from anyone.
Exactly. Truth is the truth. Thank you.
Period.
And Carrie says, I think a lot of women start businesses on their own because of that exact reason. Yes, because we're fed up of being pushed around at work. Yeah.
We're tired of the bullshit from everybody.
Yeah.
When you start speaking up for yourself and say, this is unacceptable behavior and I'm not accepting it, you don't have to tell them nothing. Just walk away. I'm not saying nothing else. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what we have to do. Like these women, they were courageous. They didn't stop and ask and over-explain and all that. They said, this is enough and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Period. That's what we got to do. Just do it. Don't ask for permission.
Yeah. We don't need to ask for permission. We've got the same rights as everybody else.
Absolutely.
So on, I'm laughing because I would love to see how long it takes you to get fired up.
It don't take long. You see that?
No, I love it. I love doing lives with you, Margaret.
Thank you. Okay.
So my next lady is a French lady. So I don't know if Raquel's still on here, but this is a French lady, Simone de Beauvoir. So 1908 to 1986. She was a French philosopher and writer who transformed how society understood gender. She wrote a book called The Second Sex, which explored how culture, history, and social expectations shape women's lives. Her famous line is, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." And I think what she means by that is nothing to do with like changing your gender or anything like that. What she's saying is, when girls start out, this is how I read it anyway. When girls start out, we got to be good, we got to be sweet, we got to, marry right, have children, stay in the kitchen, that sort of thing. That's what our expectations,
And keep
especially
your
in
mouth
those
shut.
days. Yeah,
And keep your mouth shut.
and keep your mouth shut. Yeah. But what she's saying, we can become a woman because a woman, we have our own power. We're different to men. Believe it or not, we are very different to men. We have our own power. And when that comes out, I think when women speak their mind and come into their own power, I think for a man, that's one of the scariest things, especially for the, alpha male, macho man. They do not want women to be leaders because we are scary when we're powerful in the right way,
That's why they better treat us right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So she helped women see that many limitations placed on women were social constructs, not natural truths. And her ideas heavily influenced modern feminism. And so that was, again, back in the early 1900s. So, yeah, amazing. It's amazing what these women have done over the years, but it's also amazing how not very far we've come with all of this. We're still fighting for our place at the table.
Because there are so many people is fighting to keep us down here, to keep us silent, to keep us from creating this change. They want to keep the status quo. And how you do that? You keep you silent, okay? Through fear and manipulation and control.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 2026 is a new year, okay? Because we have power here and in other areas, okay? We need to utilize our power, okay?
We do, yes. Yeah. Yeah, we need to hit them where it hurts.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay. So, do you have anybody else?
No, I just picked those
Okay,
those
that's
those
fine.
three. If
That's
you
fine.
have another one, please, that'd be great.
I have two more actually. So one is she's well known in Britain, but I don't know about in America, and that's Barbara Castle, the politician.
Okay.
So she was a Labour politician, 1910 to 2002. So a British politician. She was a politician in the Labour Party when the Labour Party were better. At the moment, the Labour Party in the UK is totally changed. They are just a bunch of horrible people now, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, Barbara Castle was a British politician who helped push through one of the most important laws for working women. She was responsible for introducing the Equal Pay Act in 1970 in the UK. We still don't have completely equal pay, but she brought in the act and it improved things. And it followed a major strike by women sewing machinists at the Ford Motor Company in 1968, who demanded equal pay for equal work. And the impact of Barbara Castle, the law made it illegal to pay women less than men for the same work, which was a huge step towards economic equality. Um, and yeah, so winning the vote was only the beginning. So when the suffragettes won the vote, and when women won our some rights, but we also had to fight for fair treatment in the workplace, and leaders like Barbara Castle helped turn that demand into law. Yeah, I think I mean this is it. I mean, a lot of the freedoms that women have today were brought about by women standing up for what's right for women. Um, Nothing happens overnight. Everything is very, very slow moving, but we are so much further on than we were in the Middle Ages. Um, even 100 years ago, we're further on, but we're still not far enough. We're still not far enough. And if we're not careful, things are going to get worse. Because, like you say, when women rise, men try to push us down. Society, so not all men, I shouldn't really say men because not all men are the same, but society tries to push us back down again to be in our place.
I'm glad you mentioned that it's not just men; it's women too, because
Absolutely. Yeah.
because a lot of time women can be envious and jealous of each other,
Mm,
and turn it into a competition.
mm,
Okay, when we compete against each other, we are not rising together. We just like in this rat race, okay, in this hamster wheel, whatever. Okay,
yeah.
for me, it's not about ego. It's about collective, growth, growing together. Like in the 1960s, they could not have been successful with that movement if people didn't come together, put their egos outside, and work together for the better good of all.
Mm,
Okay? When
absolutely.
you when you rise, I rise.
We do it.
When I cut you and betray you, I'm betraying myself.
Yeah. The sisterhood. We do not betray the sisterhood. We stick together. I think
No, we don't.
that is one of the most important laws that we need to set to ourselves as women, that we support each other. You do not stab another sister in the back. Not ever.
For personal gain. What do you
Exactly.
gain? What do you gain from it? You lose a friend. You lose a connection, a genuine connection over greed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Exactly. And so having this talk today, we need to bring people back to basics, to
Yeah.
understand we need to support ourselves and to support others in this movement. We don't live in this world alone. It
Yeah.
could be you, it could be me today, and it could be you tomorrow. So why not uplift and motivate each other?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm believe each other. Like when we say this wrong has been done to me, if a woman says that to you, believe her. Don't say, oh, that couldn't possibly have happened, because just believe what we say, because so many times that we're just not believed. Um, I've got one more woman. So this is slightly different. So this isn't about women's rights, but the other thing we need to remember is there are women who have showed courage in the face of evil so many times. And, these women have faced torture, rape, being killed to save other people. So I'm thinking of during the war, and in the Second World War, and this one probably will make me cry, but there's a lady, and she's not very well known, but her name is Irina Sendler. She's Polish. She was born 1910 and she died in 2008. She was a Polish social worker during the World War II, and she secretly rescued Jewish children from the Warsaw Ghetto. She worked with the Polish resistance, smuggling children out in incredibly dangerous ways. She put them in toolboxes. She put them in ambulances. She even carried children in sacks to get them out of the ghetto. She then placed them with families in orphanages and convents where they could survive. And she gave them false identities. And she saved around 2,500 children. And she wrote down the children's real names in a jar. If she wrote down the children's real names and their new identities and put them in a jar, and then she buried the jar under a tree where they could be found later when the war was over. But the Nazis couldn't lay their hands on them and find out who these children were. And she was captured by the Nazis and tortured, horrendously tortured. She didn't die, but she was horrendously tortured. And she never, ever revealed their identities. And I mean, women like that, they don't start out thinking, right, I'm going to be a hero. They just do what feels right at the time. And there are women like that all over the world today, yesterday, many years ago. And I think these are the women that we celebrate today, the women that with courage, the women that stood up for other women, that stood up for human rights. So I'm sorry I wasn't, I was sorry, I was just listening as I was cleaning. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for listening as you were cleaning. I'm glad to see a man cleaning. And I don't know whether you're being facetious or not.
Maybe he's single. Hold on.
I haven't got anybody to do cleaning.
In either case, cleaning is good.
It is good, yeah. And why shouldn't you do your cleaning?
I even thought about that lady. What was her name? Nuremberg or something. That young girl. She was fighting for something. I forgot what. I should have looked her up. She's young too. Okay.
Okay, Greta Thunberg.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You want to talk about her?
Yeah, I mean, she is amazing. She's amazing, and she's another person that they are trying to make her look bad at every turn. And she's just great. She's absolutely great. But she's autistic, isn't she? Or she's got
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's Swedish, and she sat outside the embassy in Sweden protesting against climate change. And it was just her sat on her own for days and days. And then well, I think every Friday she used to take the day off school and go and sit outside there. And that started a movement among children all over. I don't know about America, but in the UK, children were coming out of school on a Friday in protest.
Enjoying it. Okay. That's good. That's how we evoke change. We have to speak up and be courageous, and speak the truth when most of the people are not going to like it. But that's how we evoke change. And each of us have to do that in our lives, in our personal lives. Okay. And when we overcome these challenges in our personal lives, okay, and then we can extend that outward to others and to the world, right? But if we don't take care of our own uh, house, we can't help others, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it starts with us. Starts with us. So yeah, I don't have anything else, but um does anybody listening, can you think of any women that you would like to support? Um I mean, even our mothers. I mean, not my mother, and probably not your mother, Margaret.
No,
But
no, not at all.
there was a lady that I used to talk to in a bank years ago where I worked. So she was a customer, and I used to like help her out with her money and stuff. And she used to work, I don't know, 3 or 4 jobs, I think, a day. Um, like all these different jobs, cleaning jobs. I don't know, all worked in a shop, I think, as well. And she said, and she was working so hard, single mum. She had one son, and she wanted him to have a good education. She wanted him to go to university. So she was working all these jobs and going without herself. And I just remember her because I can't even remember her name now or exactly what I was doing for her. But she said to me, I get all of my clothes from charity shops. I haven't bought anything for years because I'm putting this money aside for my son. But she said, there is one thing though, Sue, one thing. I said, what's that, my love? She said, I draw the line at secondhand underwear. I
I know
always
that's
have
right.
to have new
I
underwear.
know that's right.
Bless. Uh,
You know, it's funny that you said that. You talked about my mother. Okay, I didn't know my real mother, but my stepmother, I said she was an angel. Okay, but the thing of it was, being married to my father, who was a narcissist. She
mm,
told me, I was like, "Why don't you leave him?" She said, "Where am I going to go?" You know what I'm saying? And she didn't have her own money, and she didn't have her own to where that she thought that she could take care of herself. And so we need to understand, do not allow yourself to stay in a situation where your physical, mental, and emotional well-being is being hampered every day. You deserve
yeah,
better. You deserve more. I wouldn't care if I had to go live in a shelter. That's better than being under somebody's thumb and being beaten and abused every day. Do not allow that. Do not
no.
accept that.
I
And
totally
that's what
agree.
I
I
want to
mean,
say.
yeah, I totally agree. I went through that and I stayed. I stayed and I shouldn't have. I stayed because I thought that I brought it on myself. I thought I did this to myself, so therefore I have to live with it, which is just, when I look back now, I think that is so stupid and crazy. And why did I do that? But I didn't have the confidence. So this is, where we start is to build our confidence. This is why I talk so much about confidence, because that's where you start. Because the more you build your confidence, the stronger you will get, the more resilient you will get, the more courageous you will get. So confidence is the starting point. And the starting point of confidence is to love yourself and believe in yourself the way you are. You don't need to change for anybody. If you're trying to attract a partner and they don't like you as you are, they're not for you. Don't change to meet somebody else's expectations. Never do that.
Because your needs will always go unmet. Always.
Absolutely.
Trust and believe. If you accept that, you will always be unhappy. I know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm single and celibate. Okay? For real. Okay? For that reason.
That's your protest.
Whew, I tell you this, peace and serenity is priceless. It's more important than anything in this world. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Right, should not be based on rather your reproductive organs are on the inside or on whether your reproductive organs on the inside. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yes, definitely. Okay, well, do we have anything else to say, or are we going to wind up?
Yeah, we're winding up. This was too important not to have this conversation today. Okay. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you agreeing to do this. Thank you so much. You know, I love going
Oh no,
live with you as well.
I loved it, and thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for giving up your Sunday mornings or afternoons, wherever it is where you are. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, all. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And you celebrate yourself every day. Okay? Every day is
Absolutely.
a celebration. And you wake up to see a new day. That's a celebration in itself. Okay?
It is. Yes. Yes. Yeah. If you wake up in the morning, peace. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.